Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going in Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going in Raw. We also offer the Steve Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steve Larson or go to patreon.com/Steve Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Steven Larson's Pro Wrestling Podcast, ruining pro wrestling podcasting since 2014. On today's episode, we've got the latest on the backstage details surrounding Ron Killings, a.k.a. RTruths, return to the WWE. Was it all a work? Hey, just enjoy the show, man. Just enjoy it. Did you like it? Did you like it? Just enjoy the show, man.
Part of the show. He's a part of the show. It's all part of the show.
Triple H, he really needs to start doing the H face when he thinks he's being clever. He's up there. He thought he was so clever when that dude at the press conference said, "So can you the truth situation? Was he really released? Did you really bring him back? Did you join?" Yeah, just do
Doesn't
that.
even say anything. Just H face.
That'd be great.
As we thought at the time, shouldn't put any stock in what he said because it seems like nothing involving RTruths departure was part of the show.
Well, he didn't actually say the whole thing was planned. He said, "Did you enjoy the show? Or did you enjoy it? It's all part of the show, man."
Yeah, I know. It was vague enough that you can be like, "Oh, it sounds like he's saying it was all kayfabe." But
this dude just at WrestleMania was like, "I don't mind when things. I don't like when things are spoiled in advance, but I don't mind talking about how it came together. I guess maybe except when it comes to botched contract negotiations."
Well, I think he doesn't mind talking about how it came together so long as it's in a highly edited Netflix reality show.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, so we're also going to talk about Worlds Collide as well, give you our thoughts, because hell of a show that Worlds Collide. I'm looking forward to more of those. Go ahead and let's talk about the RTruth.
Let's start with Ron Killings, RTruth. So, of course, during Saturday's Money in the Bank premium live event, Ron Killings, RTruth, made a fairly shocking return to WWE just about a week after he announced on Twitter and then report subsequently stating that he was finishing up with the company or was finished up with the company due to WWE not renewing his contract, which was set to expire shortly. And of course, given it's pro wrestling, people always want to say, well, was this a shoot or a work? And again, given that it's pro wrestling, a lot of times you got to ask yourself that question as far as what things happen on the TV screen. So, shortly after Money in the Bank, Fifel Select had a report, and Fifel was very clear to note that Truth's original WWE contract had yet to expire, but sources claim he has been brought back on a new deal. Get to more on that in a little bit. Fightful adds that Truth had ignored WWE's initial overtures until Nick Khan called Truth to work out a new contract, which sources described as a meeting halfway situation. Let's take a break here.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's Jonathan Coachman's stuff on his podcast, so potentially a grain of salt. He did bring up that Truth was offered a deal by WWE, a new contract that was for much less money than he was making, and Truth turned it down. I don't know if this meeting halfway situation is a reference to that or something else. So,
I mean, it definitely, it seems like that is, it wouldn't shock me, and I'm not trying to put, throw cold water on anybody's reporting about anything. I mean, I'd need a larger sample size of Coachman's, when he says Triple H is going to be out within the next 18 months. Well, I need a little bit more between now and then to know if what Coachman is saying is truthiness or it's just pure bullshit. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it stands to reason. Hey, we know you got some value to the company. We know people like you. But we're not going to use you to the degree that your salary, would demand. And we're a bunch of cheap bastards over here at TKO, just swimming in piles of debt. So let's lowball you And he was like, no, that's not going to work for me. I could see that being the case.
Potentially.
Like, that's nothing new. That's not anything new in any form of business.
No. So Fifel had more. They spoke to several talent who had spoken to Truth, and they all reiterated to Fightful that Truth's initial departure was not a work. Talents claimed that there were, quote, many tears backstage following news of Truth's departure, and those who spoke to Truth indicated that he seemed, quote, shocked and kind of disgusted by WWE's move to not renew his deal. One talent noted that Truth received the news from a talent relations employee rather than the company's, quote, top brass, and that it was delivered in a, quote, very cold and impersonal way. Regarding the idea the entire saga was a work, one talent who has worked with Truth for over a decade stated to Fightful, quote, Ronnie wouldn't do that. If he had to maintain a work like that, he'd just ask us not to say anything. He would never lie to us about that. I think Paul Levesque also knows that lying to or working the locker room is horrible taste. So when we talked about this initially on our Money in the Bank recap, we discussed the idea of using a talent, what you want to call it, release, not renewing their contract, losing their job.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And using that for a story and how that could be
pretty
tacky just from our vantage point as viewers.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But of course, in pro wrestling, so much of the pro wrestling industry is based on trust and the idea of, the executives work in the locker room would be met with a lot of anger pretty quickly, because that's like one thing that you kind of don't do in the pro wrestling business. Management doesn't work the locker room.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. It's one thing, look, you can work us marks all day long.
Yeah, that's kind of the job of creative, yeah.
Right. But when you lose the trust of, you don't want your locker room to be on shaky ground when it comes to, like, I can't trust these people.
Exactly.
Like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. In a subsequent follow-up, Fifel stated they spoke to a, quote, higher-up from WB who reiterated that Truth's departure was not a work and confirmed Fifel's reporting on the matter. The source also stated that Truth's return was, quote, a good sign that the roster and fan response being listened to overcame everything else.
This is where to me, it becomes, I was hoping that the entire thing was a work. Because if the idea is they didn't understand that this would be the reaction, then I don't, do they not pay attention? Like, how is it you and I would know? If you and I were, a month ago, we're told, hey, this is how this is going to play out. RTruth is going to have a main event slot against, he's going to have a Saturday night's main event slot against Cena. Pretty quick match. Cena blasts him. And then shortly after, WWE is not going to extend his contract. They're going to let it expire. What do you think the fan response is going to be to that? What do you think the backstage locker room's response is going to be to that?
Pretty much unanimous uttering of what the hell you doing, WWE. Like, what is this? This is foolishness.
Yeah, and there'd be plenty of people chanting for Truth in the crowd. Like, if we were told that this is how it was going to, these events were going to transpire, we could have told you. Here's the thing. We're not even that smart.
No.
We're old. Our memories are shot. Like, half the time I'm like, what day is it?
Yeah. What day is it, by the way? Today, what is it?
I mean, it's Monday. I only know that because yesterday I slept in. Today I didn't.
That's a good indicator right there.
Right? That's what I have to do these days because I'm kind of stupid.
But here's the thing. We're coming up on summer break. That's going to throw everything off because we don't have to get up early any days for the next 2 months.
So the point is, we're not terribly smart. We've lost. No. We're definitely not at 100%. We peaked probably 10, 15 years ago.
Speak for yourself. I think 30 years ago for me, honestly. 25, 30 years ago in some respects.
Okay. Hey, I've read some of my high school papers. They're pretty good back in the day.
I read some of my college ones. They're not too bad.
Right. So the point is, we're pretty stupid. We could have told you this would be the response.
Yeah. We could have told you it was a terrible idea.
So how is it that the dudes at WWE whose job it is to kind of understand like how their roster is perceived, how is it they don't know that this was going to happen?
Here's the thing.
That's not crazy to me.
It's not just how do they not know how roster moves are going to be perceived by the fan base, how do they not know how roster moves are going to be perceived within the locker room?
That's the bigger one too, yeah.
They're there, like Triple H is there every single day with the locker room. By all accounts, he is more accessible than Vince. Like, you would think he would have his finger on the pulse.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Of all this. And if he was involved in signing off on not renewing RTruth's deal, literally, what the hell is he thinking?
If he really thought, let me go down this line of roster people, and I don't mean to, cast shade to anybody, but it's like there are certain people where it's like, you know what, I know this is going to be perceived as a bummer because people are not having their contracts renewed, but this one right here, probably not. But when you get to the name RTruth, how do you not know? And this is what I told my WrestleJuice audience last night, because I had kind of a similar conversation about this. To our friendos out there, never think that you're not smart enough. Never think you're not good enough. There are plenty of stupid, epically stupid people in charge of a great many things in this world. Epically stupid people.
Yeah.
For them not to understand that this was going to get this response, epically stupid.
Yeah.
Which is why I was hoping was work. It's like, oh man, come on. They can't be that dumb.
They are.
Just enjoy the show, man.
They are. Yeah.
I like Triple H too, but goddamn, this is stupid.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Anyways.
Majorly.
Bodyslam.net had some more details. It said this. WWE were legitimately letting Killing's talent contract expire and not renewing it. Several within WWE wanted him to stay with the company, but not as an active talent. The backlash and reaction that came about over the last week created an opportunity that WWE could not pass up, and WWE President Nick Khan ultimately reached out to facilitate a new working deal with Killings. PWInsider.com reported that the decision to bring Killings back happened over the last 72 hours, which I was informed by a source that the new deal came together sometime on Friday. This new deal isn't a normal active working talent deal, but it gives him the opportunity for one true final run.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know when his initial contract was set to expire. The fact that Body Slam mentions this, I think Ron's son on social media congratulated his dad, said something like one last run. It's pure speculation on my part. I wonder if with the not a normal active working talent deal, this is a situation where this is like a short-term extension. Months rather than years. Do you know what I mean? Well, hey, we have the story we want to tell with you, to kind of wrap up your time at WWE. And it's going to culminate, like, say, Cena's like, all right, Truth, Ron Killings, we're going to have a match. If you lose, you're done at WWE. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. And I think if you can, even in advance of this, if they were to go to him, and I don't know what conversations were had. I mean, seemingly something pretty cold went down here.
Yeah.
But if they had gone to him and say, look, man, you are objectively one of the most beloved members of the roster, both to the fans and to, the roster. We would like to phase you out because we're trying to make room for some youth. But we'd like you to go out on terms that you're, happy with, give you a Hall of Fame berth, a last run, maybe something where your character can be a bit more complex. Can we extend you for a year and tell that story?
Yeah.
And I don't know, if there's I mean, that you would think that if that was the case, then that's as good as you can ask for. If you want to, as a company, start phasing out certain, legacy elements. He's been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I can understand that. And I understand that they're trying to save money because they're in mountains of debt. But yeah, for Nick Khan to be like, oh my God, this fan reaction is not like anything we expected. Well, then that's weird to me. That's really silly.
Well, I mean, he probably, a lot of people in the executive branch of WWE probably live in a probably live in a bubble,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So,
but regardless, I do hope that if this is a situation where he is back for, a limited run, whether it's 6 months, a year, whatever, maybe his last match will be at WrestleMania, that we do get, we've always had shades of a more complex RTruth, and I hope that they're able to concoct a good story for him and his send-off. And, that crowd's going to go, they're going to give him a huge standing ovation, which is what the guy deserves at this point in his career. And then from there, we'll see, maybe he's like, hey, the guy is still at 53 years old, is in phenomenal shape. Maybe he'll have another run in a TNA or, an AEW. I kind of doubt that one, but you never know if he's still interested in all that stuff. Then that's how it can go. Or he could be a WWE ambassador type.
Yeah, who knows? I guess there was some reporting. I think it was from Meltzer. Can't remember who it was. Meant to include in the notes here that the reason that he wanted to have his last run as Ron Killings as opposed to RTruth is to, bring more brand value to the Ron Killings name. So once he was done at WWE,
okay,
perhaps more opportunities for him.
Yeah. So, hey, that's pretty smart there.
It is. It is. Of course, Truth now seemingly going by Ron Killings. WWE took Twitter to respond to users' claim the whole thing was a work, saying simply, "No work.
No work.
No work."
Last word there from Ron Killings.
Yep.
So we are going to talk about, let's see here. Oh, was this more stuff here?
There's even more stuff with
okay.
Truth,
We'll talk about that in a second. And then we'll do our Worlds Collide thing. We do have a sponsor for the show this week, so let's talk about them.
We do. Let's take a break. Get word from our sponsor, Tempo, Steve.
Yes.
Summer is nearly here. With all the barbecues and road trips and family vacations I got on the docket over the next couple months, thinking it might be tough for old Larson to keep up with his healthy eating habits with so much going on. You know me, I need my protein.
Oh, absolutely, man. And if you think you got to turn to easy meal solutions that may compromise your nutrition this summer, think again. Tempo makes staying on track easy, offering fresh protein-packed meals that are ready to eat in just 3 minutes. Tempo's perfectly portioned meals take all the guesswork out of eating well, so you can maintain your healthy lifestyle without sacrificing taste or convenience.
And I see that Tempo has new recipes each week, like barbecued pulled pork and sweet potato skillets, and sweet chili meatballs that are made with real nutrient-rich ingredients. And they also offer meals like protein-packed options that fit my dietary preferences. Steve, Larson's got to get his protein.
Yeah, man, I know. For a limited time, Tempo is offering our listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So, PW Insider this morning, Monday morning. Today's Monday, right?
Today is Monday, correct?
Today is Monday.
Yes, I think.
So PW Insider had a complete rundown of the RTruth saga this morning, saying that it wasn't a work. And adding, quote, WWE reached out to Truth several days before Money in the Bank and is believed to come to terms Friday, the day before. They then hid him until the run-in. There were rumblings over the course of Money in the Bank in the locker room. There was a big run-in happening, but at least a few assumed that meant Travis Scott. If anyone in the locker room was aware it was Truth ahead of time, we've not heard it. They continued. This is kind of how they summarize their write-up. Why did this happen? WWE made a mistake. They cut someone based on math and realized that they had upset not just the audience, but more importantly, the entire realm of their locker room, many of whom privately made their feelings known as much as some did publicly. So the company course-corrected. This doesn't mean every talent will get a reprieve when WWE cuts them, but Truth, as a performer and locker room stalwart, was a unique case, and the ripple effect of that unique case actually ended with a positive.
Yeah, you gotta hope that moving forward, when they are making personnel decisions, and again, this is going to sound kind of, this could be a situation where it's going to sound a little bit on the heartless side. They can't keep everybody. They sign them to contracts. I think if you sign somebody to a contract and you keep them around through the length of the contract, and then you don't extend that contract if you don't feel like it's working for your business, I understand that. That's a normal thing in business. It's a normal thing. But you have to look at the risk reward of doing that. And when you look down the roster, certain people are going to elicit very strong reactions.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I think of another name that his name was sort of out there because he had changed up some of his social media. But The Miz, for example, is not like what he was in 2016, or certainly not like 2010, 2011, when he was main eventing WrestleMania, when he was actively in the Intercontinental Championship scene. I think he's an 8 or 9 time Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
And these days he's mentor to Carmelo Hayes, no doubt making a shit ton of money because he's been around for a very long time and he's very reliable. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I saw this video on WWE Social of him and John Cena in what looked like a fairly candid moment when Cena was, I think it was around Mania or something like that. And Miz was explaining to Cena how some words of advice that he had given the Miz ages ago, Miz imparted to somebody else. I don't think he said who it was, but he imparted it to somebody else. And John Cena looked, as a shoot, very proud of Miz that he had evolved into what seems like a locker room leader. Mm-hmm. I could see there being the same response. If they look at Miz's contract and be like, man, we're paying this guy a shit ton of money and he's ostensibly kind of a manager to Carmelo Hayes these days. You know, I could see there being the same. That's the thing that they're going to have to really understand is, yes, maybe we don't pay maybe we pay this guy more than he's worth on television in a wrestling capacity, but that extra money might be worth it to, you know, to maintain the locker room leader status, to, you know, give a good, you know, somebody with a good mind and is able to help your youth movement through his knowledge and leadership, and a guy who is always at the ready, who can be slotted into those situations.
Well, not only that, but the case of The Miz, you ask him to do any sort of press thing, he does it.
And he expertly. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and there's
so
something to be said for putting a premium on maintaining the chemistry of your locker room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if, you know, someone's looking at, you know, a spreadsheet of you know, salaries for wrestlers and says, well, you know, this name is making too much compared to how they're utilized on TV. Mm-hmm. That's just one small aspect of the whole picture. You got to look at other factors. You got to look at everything.
Yeah.
And especially if one of the goals of WWE the next few years is to get an influx of younger wrestlers on the roster. Mm-hmm. Veteran wrestlers with a wealth of experience who have the respect of everybody are invaluable in that scenario, because they're the ones who are going to impart, you know, like the necessary knowledge to the younger wrestlers joining the company to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I just bring up The Miz because I know that guy, he's been around for a long time, probably makes a shit ton of money, and probably more than what you would expect based off of if you just started watching.
Yeah. Based
on
his role,
watching today, his role in the company, the minutes that he has on television, but this is a guy where you can put him anywhere. So yeah, I mean, and I'm just bringing that up because Alvarez had said a thing about, you know, oh, The Miz, I can, you know. So,
well, I mean, I think after, you know, the news about Truth last week, then people noticed The Miz took like everything WWE off social media stuff. And so people are like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is Miz getting ready to leave? I think his contract is up some point in 2025. So
yeah. Before we get on with our Worlds Collide review, I want to bring this up. We got some new merch over at friendoshop.com. I'm very excited about this one, Larson. As a lot of people know, you and I are big fans of the NBA. We shoot hoops these days 3 times a week. Mm-hmm. Our ankles, our knees, bruised, battered. Just a couple of old, slow men beating each other up 3 times a week. And it's honestly my favorite thing in the week. I look forward to it so much. And so because of that, our merch outlet, they offer up all over print basketball jerseys. And so we've whipped up 4 of these things along with a couple hats. and it's the very first Friendo Club Hoops collection, and it's available now at friendoshop.com. These things are awesome. They're, athletic, this sweat wicking thing. You can wear them to the gym. You can wear them out and about if it's a hot summer day. You can wear them on the court like we do. And then we got a couple of hats as well. They're reasonably priced. And we got a shirt and a hoodie as well. I'm also working on some all over print. They are ridiculous, but all over print hoodie and matching joggers, like sweatpants.
Love to hear it.
That'll be coming down the pipeline. But this is our first batch of jerseys here. And
expect more, because I got a couple ideas that I would like to try to hammer out if I could find them.
Oh, absolutely. I love these things. They're so comfortable. They're lightweight. The colors pop. Like, they really do pop. They look like $1,000,000. I'm really, really happy with the way they came out. Generally speaking, I usually get, and in this case I have, a sample of everything. I would bust it out here, but like they're literally in the washing machine right now.
Well, give me a moment. I think I have one over here.
If you have one somewhere, that'd be cool. But yeah, if you use the code Friendo2024, that is still the code that we have at the shop. Yeah, there we go. It's the teal one. And I'll be honest with you, like, you're a little washed out. That teal actually pops a bit better than what we see on camera here. But yeah, they're really, really nice jerseys.
They are.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get those right now. I got the hat. One of the hats right here. I got the other one right there. These hats they're like the kids wear them a little bit bigger these days.
Yeah.
So that's what it looks like that. Let me put my predictions one back on. But no, it's really, the hats are like, they're embroidered, so they're all nice and shit.
Yeah.
So check it out, friendoshop.com. All right, man, let's talk about Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
I thought this was a wildly fun show. I can't speak to what the future of AAA under WWE is going to be. But in terms of like a first show, with the exception of them not having a 6-sided ring, which I really kind of feel like they're probably going to ditch the 6-sided ring.
Yeah, that's gone. I think the advertising during the matches, as they do it in AAA, not as they do it in WWE, gone. There's like, I can't quibble with the show itself in terms of, like, it was an enjoyable show. The main event was awesome. Mm-hmm. It's the details, the little things. That the little things that add richness to the AAA viewing experience.
Yeah.
If what we saw at Worlds Collide is what is to be expected from AAA going forward, like, I'm gonna miss those little things, though.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of bummed out heel ref wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
And I know WB can't do the or won't do 6-sided ring. They're not going to do the Bardal advertising playing during matches. Those things they're not going to do.
Yeah.
And as good as the matches were, they all felt very much like WWE matches in terms of the construction and how they were laid out and the pace of them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to miss, again, if this is what we're to expect from AAA going forward, I'm going to miss a little bit of the kind of the unpredictable, chaotic nature of the matches, of the presentation, of everything. It had a charm to it.
Yeah, dude, again, it's going to be interesting to see what AAA looks like. You got to think that they're still going to... the opportunities presented to them... Because here's the thing, this wasn't a AAA show. It was a co-branded NXT AAA show.
Jeremy Borash was backstage running the show.
So when we get to Triple Mania, or whatever the next televised show is, we'll have a much better idea.
Obviously.
Because they're not going to want to alienate their audience and get rid of heel ref.
Yeah, you'd
and
hope not.
face ref. They're not going to. I would be shocked if they sent WWE refs down to Triple Mania, unless Triple Mania is going to be like kind of a WWE branded promotion or a production.
Yeah.
We talked about, obviously, like the Tron situation, how they got rid of the Trons. But, you and I talked about how the Trons as they were, looked like something out of 2005. And is that charming? Sure. But that's a small thing for me. What I saw, and again, I'm kind of curious how the actual AAA shows are going to look.
Yeah.
But the opening bout, I thought the opening bout, and I thought the 6-man later, the Legato one, were what I love about AAA. You know, like the matches themselves felt very AAA. It was reckless abandon. It was, topes onto nothing, planches onto nothing. It was,
well, those two matches you described, only one of them was a planned tope onto nothing.
Mr. Iguana, stuff like that. The colorful characters, are they going to have the type of hardcore matches they had before? Probably not. I don't know that shit's terribly healthy for the wrestlers, though. So I don't know that they necessarily should keep those around. There's certain things that I'm like, you know what? Over the past couple of years, you and I had sort of felt that AAA had lost its luster. And it had nothing to do with the small things that you're talking about. It had to do with like, well, this booking's kind of not great.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, well, it's just sort of boring and not fun anymore.
Yeah.
And so, I have no idea if what that's going to look like going forward. Is the AAA of yesterday, dead? Probably. But I thought this was a really, really fun celebration of AAA. They paid all sorts of respect and homage to the promotion. I thought they did a wonderful job with that, with the various video packages they did, et cetera, et cetera. I thought they did a really good job with that stuff. But it remains to be seen what they're going to keep, what they're going to get rid of.
Yeah.
Do I miss the blatant copyright violations? Yeah. I mean, that, it has sort of like an outlaw feel to it when they're just rolling up in like, Batman branded costumes when they're like literally actually legally bound to Marvel, but like some rando dude will show up in a Batman outfit, or they'll have hey, licensed music. How about unlicensed music? You know,
how about that? Yeah.
I appreciate that aspect of it, but that's.
I guess the major thing is, yes, this is a co-branded show, and yes, it felt very much from a production standpoint like a WWE show, in terms of Trons, the stage, the lighting, all that, camera angles, how it was, everything about the production aspect of it felt WWE. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that Triple H thinks WWE way of presenting things has been wildly successful. This is the way you should do it. Mm-hmm. That being said, and it's not like a sea change in terms of how, say, New Japan or AAA or even AEW presents their product visually for us to watch it. But there's differences. There's stylistic differences. There's philosophical differences in terms of how they photograph the action and how they cut from shot to shot. And I'm going to miss just having a different approach to the visual aspect of watching the wrestling if it is all produced in kind of your typical WWE manner. A small thing, not a huge thing, but I appreciate the differences in how various promotions handle that.
If this is the way it's going to be, which I think is honestly a big if. We have no idea.
We don't.
Because this is a co-branded show. Or it's an NXT branded show, really. And so, yeah, dude, if they start really WWEing up the production, that would be a bummer. I 1,000% agree. I'm just not going to jump to that conclusion quite yet. I mean,
you could say, well, the WWE style of production was merely a vessel to introduce the WWE audience to AAA talent.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Obviously, WWE's means or way of doing things has been wildly successful for them. Mm-hmm. So this is what a lot of people expect from the visual language of pro wrestling. And so we're going to present AAA in this manner because this is what our fans are used to, with the hopes that, they'll be invested in the wrestlers they see and then pursue watching them in AAA and AAA branded shows.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a terrific show, though, in general, for a WWE show. The Mr. Iguana stuff, not shocked at all that that was over so much. You know, when it's so easily, it translates so easily, universally. I was sitting there watching that opening match, and Lacey comes in, and she's like, "What the hell is that guy?" I'm like, "That's Mr. Iguana." You know, the part where Lindsay Dorado puts his hand out, Mr. Iguana goes down.
Yeah.
And she was just cracking up. And then, you know, everybody doing all the crazy moves and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is, you know, they purchased this company, and, you know, this is the first sort of showcase for that. So yeah, I thought that it was, you know, everything was really, really fun. And I really liked it. I thought that the Gable Vikingo match, really picked up in the second half as well. Yeah, I like that they were, you know, basically Chad Gable is kind of trying to force the match to be his match. And then once it turned to Vikingo's match, he couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. And that's what led to Vikingo's win. And so I thought that was a really lovely story as well. I thought that was a terrific match.
Yeah, it was really good, especially the second half of it when it really picked up. You know, that match I felt more than perhaps any other. Because if you're familiar with like Vikingo's work in AAA, sometimes from the opening bell, he'll do something absolutely insane that you don't see anybody else do, you know. And it's just a lot of his matches at AAA just feel like a sprint, where it's just crazy move after another, high flying stuff all over the place, and they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the second half of his match against Chad Gable, you had that. But as you mentioned, it was the first half with Chad trying to get Vikingo to wrestle a mat-based match. And Vikingo held his own.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, so while you're not getting the sprints that we saw from Vikingo in AAA, you're getting the essence of what he does, plus something you don't normally see from him, which is some pretty good mat-based wrestling.
Yeah. No, that was awesome. That was awesome. Let's talk about commentary really quick, because according to Fightful, Corey Graves getting some really high marks for his commentary. You know, we talked about this a little bit just in private, and I started watching because, you know, I took her to a birthday party Saturday when this show happened, and so I made sure to bring my headphones, and I loaded up my phone, and so I watched much of the show doing that, and Conan seemed to have been on the sleepy side. When I went back and started it over from the beginning yesterday, you know, looking at Conan, he's 60 plus years old. And so he's not hooping and hollering and doing all sorts of stuff. I grew to appreciate his commentary for the substance of it, not necessarily for the energy, because he's old. But I thought that him and Graves, I would love, and I have no idea if they're going to be working more together in the future. But by the end of it, I was like, you know what? I kind of appreciate this duo right here, because Graves is like the big energy WWE, you know, guy. And he did a terrific job.
Yeah, he was awesome.
And Conan is just a wealth of knowledge, and it isn't delivered in a flashy way, but it's delivered in a Conan way. And I, by the end of it, I really appreciated the commentary team.
Just think how it could be different, potentially better, if you have Corey Graves, you have Conan, and then you add Vampiro to the mix.
That would be amazing. You know, Vampiro. Watching poor Corey Graves sweat through having Vampiro and Conan, you know, probably, you know, speaking in secondhand to each other, you know, whether it's Espanol or just in their own in-jokes.
Yeah.
That could be wildly entertaining.
You could tell Corey was prepared, knowledgeable.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I thought he was great. You know,
I did.
You know, usually he's more in the Conan role, in that he's providing the commentary while someone else is kind of describing the action. Yeah. And here he had to do more of that. Yeah. He had to do more of the play-by-play as opposed to analyzing what is going on. It's a different role, takes a different skill set, and I thought he did great at it. And I know Conan had a more casual, laid-back approach to his commentary, but I thought when he had a situation to whether it be flesh out the backstory of the wrestlers, the stories they're involved in, who these characters are. I mean, he should know that stuff, and he did a great job of communicating that.
Yeah, even the little things, like knowing who everybody was trained by, their histories, all that stuff. I thought he did a terrific job, and setting it up with the assumption that this is the first time a lot of people are being exposed. It's got like 3 million views on YouTube right now.
I mean, the concurrents live are
400,000 plus. Yeah, it did terrific. So yeah, I thought that the commentary was really strong as well.
A good crowd. The crowd was great too.
The crowd was terrific. The crowd was absolutely terrific. So the first match, of course, was Mr. Iguana, Octagon Jr., and Arrow Star defeating the LWO team of it was Lince Dorado,
Dragon
Joaquin
Lee,
Wilde,
and then Cruz del Toro.
No, Joaquin Wilde was injured. Yeah, he was
that's
injured.
why
That's why
Dorado.
Lince was there. Yeah.
Yeah. A really strong showing for Cruz del Toro, especially so much so that Conan's like, this guy is wrestling out of his mind right now.
Yeah, and it's totally true. They just did a terrific job, and of course everybody got to see what's Mr. Iguana's iguana name?
I can't remember.
I forget.
That bit where Lince was wrestling the stuffed iguana was darn funny. He gave it the Spanish fly.
And Lacey watched. She was like, "This is outstanding." Yeah, the Spanish fly was great.
Yeah, it was really good.
Absolutely great.
In the end, Octagon Jr. Pins Lince after hitting a moonsault power slam, and it was after the match that, because Dom and Liv were sitting ringside, that Octagon and Dom getting a bit of an argument leads to the Intercontinental title match at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Yep.
Second match saw Stephanie Vaquer and Lola Vice defeat Dalise and Cheek Tormenta. Oh, this match was tons of fun. Yeah,
this was a lot of fun.
Lola and Stephanie working well as a team.
Obviously, they had Lola do a lot of the heavy lifting for her team because Stephanie had Money in the Bank later.
Yeah, and then but Stephanie gets the pin on Dalise after hitting the package backbreaker to get the win. Really fun match. Then we got Legato. So two things. I forgot that Angel and Berto were announced in advance before this to be at the June Triple Mania and having a match there, and it's for the tag titles.
Ah, okay.
If I had known that, I might have been like, I'm not so sure about Legato losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the video package before this, they really framed this as we representing WWE are gonna prove that we're top luchadors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, if that's the narrative, Triple H is going to have Team WWE win.
Dude, I wish it's such an interesting matter of presentation. Legato looked like $1 million here. They were booked strong and confident, and they looked great. The video package you talked about, them being, because I know they're telling this story on SmackDown where Berto's not exactly happy right now, but. And they did little things to address that. Like, for example, when Psycho Clown does a plancha and Santos moves Berto out of the way, saves him from eating that.
Pagano is Pagano.
Pagano.
Pagano, does the tope and hits nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
That was rough, too, because he almost overshot the ring mats.
Yeah. But they looked like $1 million. And coming out in all camo, they looked like $1 million. They looked like a real team. And they just had that spring in their step.
Now, sorry, you have more.
I just wish they were presented that way on SmackDown.
Totally.
They need to be presented strong, and it bums me out that they are not.
Yeah. As far as one of the major issues with the change of presentation, Psycho Clown's theme.
Mm-hmm.
So part of Psycho Clown's entrance is he comes down the ring and he's got his... he's got a little dance he does. And it's to the rhythm of his AAA theme.
Yeah.
So he goes down there, he's dancing like this as he goes down the ramp, and it's to the rhythm, and it works. So he's got like this ominous sounding theme now.
Yeah.
And he's going down the ramp doing his usual entrance, and it's like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I was really confused by that.
I was
because this theme does not work.
No, because his theme at AAA is like, it's kind of like da 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 da.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a ever so slightly unhinged version of that kind of melody.
Yeah.
That works so perfect for his character, and he's got his little dance he does down the ramp, and it works perfectly.
Yeah.
Now, it's moody and ominous, and it's just not the same.
It's like, do you think that he's supposed to be like some sort of nightmarish horror movie villain? It's like, that's not what Psycho Clown is. No. Even though when you look at him and you hear the name Psycho Clown, you might think that. But, he's a very celebratory character. So yeah, there's a bit of a disconnect there. But yeah, no, I mean, and you especially see this match with the AAA guys. And it's like, God damn, their branding, their presentation is so off the charts great. Psycho Clown's look, Pagano's look, always just top notch. Just looks so punk, so cool,
Yeah. Yep. So Legato gets the win here after Santos pins El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. after hitting a Phantom Driver. We didn't see the full Los Garza finish, but they did the thing off the second rope where they had him up and dumped.
Seen that plenty of times. Seen that plenty of times. Not the same.
Not the same, says Steve.
Nope.
Then we had the North American title match where Ethan Page was defending the NXT North American title match, the title belt, against Javon Evans, Ray Phoenix, Laredo Kid. This match was tons of fun.
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
Page, as expected, retained, pinning Laredo Kid after hitting a twisted grin.
Mm-hmm.
Really good stuff. I wonder if they're going to do a one-on-one soon with Ethan and Javon. They kind of felt like they set that up here.
I would think that would be next. I mean, dude, Ethan's got to get called up.
You would think so.
He's got to get called up. And Javon is the perfect North American champion. He really is. When you see him, he fit in well here. But when you see him on NXT, you think when the same thing with Ethan and Javon. Either make Javon the damn champion, have him dethrone Oba, or send him to main roster. He's just better than, he's just there. Yeah. He's just there. And this kid, his promos come off as so genuine. There's nothing theatrical about it, and it's unique.
Yeah.
And he is going to be hugely popular.
He is.
Hugely popular.
He is. Absolutely. He's got a lot. I'm not going to talk about in terms of stylistically in ring. He's kind of comparable to Will Ospreay. He's naturally, you relate to him.
Yeah.
He comes off as effortlessly genuine on the mic. And you add to that he's a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah.
Exciting wrestler.
And I predict he's going to go a similar route to Ospreay in terms of Ospreay at a certain point in his career bulked up. And I think once Javon realizes that, hey, the bouncy stuff he does, so to speak, once age starts to catch up with that a little bit, because you could do that in up until you're 24, right? 25, 26, maybe. But then you see Ospreay, he still does high flying stuff, but it ain't like it was 10 years ago.
No, he does it sparingly, and he's focused more on pace and telling good stories in the ring. And
Javon's got the height for WWE for main roster.
Yeah.
I think at some point he probably will. The same thing with Swerve. Swerve was skinny. Yeah. And then he bulked up.
Yep.
And I think Javon's going to go the same route. He's going to look like a different dude 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's a good chance.
But you're right, though. It's like that sort of raw feeling, unscripted, but still incredibly relatable and has that crowd connection. That's gonna be his thing. That's gonna be what gets him there. And his wrestling's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, he's already one of the best wrestlers in all of WWE. Javon Evans is.
Absolutely,
he's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
Yeah.
Then the main event, we talked about that a bit earlier. Kingo versus Chad Gable. Go watch this. The second half, especially, is just utterly fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Kingo gets the win, pinning Gable after hitting a 630 splash. It was so good.
It was excellent. It was excellent. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see again, if I don't know what the next do we know what the next show that they're going to do is?
AAA? It's the Triple Mania. I think it's next weekend in Monterey.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That's the next major show.
That's the Monterey one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 15th?
Is
that right?
Here.
Is it next Sunday?
Where are we here? 2024 next. Okay, June 15th.
Yeah, next Sunday.
And Monterey. Yeah. What are the... Okay, so... what are the matches here? So this is interesting. We've got...
It's a tag title match. I know that's on the docket.
We've got... Okay, so that is... so what is the new generation Dynamite? Nueva Generación Dinamita. Sanson and Forastero, they're the champions, versus Los Garzas versus the Nemeth brothers.
Oh wow, that's
versus Psycho Clown and Pagano. So that's a 4-way. You've got a 3-way for the Reina de Reinas Championship. Lady Flammer, Dalis, and Lady Shawnee. Mm-hmm. The trios match, you got Nino Ambergisa, Mr. Iguana, and El Fiscal versus the Tokyo Bad Boys. And then you got La Parca and Octagon Jr. and Laredo Kid versus Los Vipers. Those are the ones on the card now.
Yeah.
There's only 4 matches right now.
You'd expect to be have a few more be added to that, yeah.
You would think so, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, if this is going to be great if it was on WWE's YouTube channel. I suspect they probably have some sort of television deal where this is going to air.
I would think if it was going to be something like that, they would have announced it already.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I don't know, maybe WWE's kind of waiting out whatever existing television deals. Although I think Triple H just signed a deal with Univision last year. Mm-hmm. I think it was last year, 2024,
for a while,
to bring their content there. So who knows how long that deal lasts?
Yeah. Well, we shall see.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, Raw is going to be a stacked show tonight, dude.
It is. We got the title match with Jade defending against Gunther. Nikki Bella's returning.
Yeah.
John Cena's going to be on it.
Oh, wow.
King and Queen of the Ring tournaments begin. Packed episode.
We do not have any, at least on the website, we don't have any the King and Queen brackets or anything.
No, they haven't announced the field yet.
They're fatal 4-ways. I'm sure maybe Pierce is going to be on Instagram.
So it's kind of like the quarterfinal qualifying match type deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fatal 4-way for both the men and the women.
Yeah,
one winner from each will advance to singles and semifinals, and then to Riyadh.
All right. So, it is the quarterfinals then, all triple threat matches.
Yeah.
Not triple threat, 4-ways, 4 4-ways. Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. At least we have.
You think we're going to get a cash in tonight?
We're going to get, at the very least, an attempted cash in tonight.
Mm-hmm.
At the least. All right. You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, we missed a super chat yesterday from Blinging with Kimberly. Sorry about that, Kimberly.
Yeah, sorry. Our apologies.
Thanks for the super chat. She says, maybe Seth winning is setting up Seth versus Punk. They should have Seth defend the contract.
Against Phil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it on the line.
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 Yeah, do that. Anyways, thanks for the super chat, Kimberly.
Yes, thank you so much. Luis here asks, are there any specific impressions of non-wrestling celebrities you love to hear?
Are there any... I'm sorry, what?
Are there any specific impressions of non-wrestlers that you love to hear? Like someone else? Like, do you like... What's his name? Frank Caliendo? Do you like his work?
I love Bill Hader's work.
Yes.
Bill Hader can do no wrong. Obviously, his Keith Morrison is iconic.
Will Forte's Ted Turner.
Will Forte's Ted Turner is wonderful. Yeah, dude. I was always a huge fan of anything Phil Hartman did back on Saturday Night Live back in the day. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Will Ferrell, whenever he did who was the baseball guy?
Oh, Harry Carey, yeah.
Harry Carey.
Yeah.
Was amazing. When Dana Carvey and Phil Hartman would do Carson and
Ed McMahon.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And then of course, what's his face? Karrion Kross does a killer impersonation of Jesse Ventura.
Yeah. Sebastian Garcia here asked, besides heavy metal, who would you like to see from AAA on the next Worlds Collide card?
Cybernetico.
Yeah, Cybernetico. Chessman.
Obviously. Chessman.
Yeah. Shavon asks if we've seen Sinners. Have not had a chance to see it yet, though I would really like to.
Though. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
Likewise.
Let's see here. Big Dumb Rocket. Do we see Solo versus Jacob at SummerSlam for the title?
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to happen, yeah.
Yeah, that seems
I mean, they might do that at Night of Champions. It's coming up at the end of the month.
John the Revelator says, have you guys checked out Tom York's excellent new album with Mark Pritchard, Tall Tales? Have not listened to that yet.
No, I haven't.
Should.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Came out a few weeks back.
I watched, did you watch the Smile did one of those NPR Tiny Desk concerts?
Oh, I have not seen that.
It's really good.
Yeah, I imagine.
Nash Kell says, if they redo Becky Lyra, is it better to have it at SummerSlam or Evolution? SummerSlam is a ways off. I'd do it at when's Evolution's in July, right? It's like all in weekend.
Yeah,
do it at Evolution.
Sharpie says if there is at least one wrestler who you suspect having gone through the severance procedure, who would it be? What wrestler do you suspect has been severed?
John Cena, probably.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Say John Cena.
Yeah.
Cheeseman says, if you could use a Money in the Bank style contract for anything, what would it be? Prime seats at a concert, a Michelin star meal. I'd say like courtside if the finals go to Game 7.
Okay, that's good. Good seats next time the Eagles are at the Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go.
Your UFO Guy says, which film had a better story, Doctor Strangelove or Failsafe?
Which one's Failsafe?
I think it's like a more dramatic version of Doctor Strangelove. Because it was an old film, and then, was it George Clooney? They did Failsafe as like the live TV movie. I think George Clooney was involved in it.
Failsafe. Let's see here. The film follows a crisis caused by a critical error that sends a group of U.S. bombers. Okay, so I get it. Failsafe. I like these old movie posters. It's just nothing but text. Failsafe will have you sitting on the brink of eternity. I know what that means. Man, nothing beats fucking Strangelove.
No, that's such a great movie.
I don't know about all this stuff, but if it doesn't end with a guy straddling a nuke saying, yeah! If I don't get Clooney doing that, then I don't want it.
Yep. Josh M. asks, will Triple H give the people what they want, Mr. Iguana versus Cena at SummerSlam?
Oh, man. Book that.
Make it happen.
I'd like to see Cena in Triple Mania.
That'd be great.
Put Cena in AAA. That'd be great.
Film Critic says, can you share your impromptu Worlds Collide star ratings?
Yeah, sure. Opening bout, 4.5 stars. What match came next? What was the thing?
It was the Vecchare and Lola Vice.
I give that like 3 3/4. It wasn't a very long match.
It was like the shortest of them all. Next, Legato versus Psycho Clown Pagano and
4.5 stars.
All right, wow.
Yeah.
NXT North American title match.
4.5 stars.
Okay, main event.
5 stars.
All right, high scores from Steve. Opening bout, I'll give 3.5.
3.5 for the Mr. Iguana match?
Yeah, Mr. Iguana was great.
You're crazy. That match was awesome.
It was fun. Do the same for the tag match with Stephanie and Lola. Legato, 3 3/4.
Wow.
4 1/4 for the North American title match, and then 4 3/4 for the main event.
Harsh. Let's see
Those
here.
are all good scores.
Joe the Meme Maker said, boy, we got some ammunition for the next, responding to negative comments video. Joe the Meme Maker says, the WWE repack anyone to a mask character. Who should it be, and what would the gimmick be? Nathan Frazier, put him in a mask, and call him Naxium.
I was going to say, what's something synonymous with axiom? Theorem, formula. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
He's fast, like Formula
Theorem.
1. Call him Formula.
Formula. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
Let's see. Diehard Homer asks, what is the best performance in Boogie Nights?
Probably, oh, God. Amber Waves. What was her name?
Oh, Julianne Moore?
Julianne Moore. Probably Julianne Moore. Or Philip Seymour Hoffman.
What about Little Bill? William H. Macy.
Boy, yeah, that was a rough one.
Mm-hmm.
That was a rough one.
Todd Parker, of course. Thomas Jane.
Yeah, I'd say probably Julianne Moore.
Yeah, she was really good.
But Philip Seymour Hoffman, boy, what a legend.
Mm-hmm.
What an absolute legend. Like, how about this? When they're having the conversation between Jack Horner, the Colonel, and Floyd Gondoli, and when the Colonel says, "I'm a simple man. I like lollipops in my mouth and butter in my ass."
Yeah.
And then you see out of focus in the background
the Colonel laughing. Yeah.
The Colonel laughs. I think that was a shoot.
Yeah, I think so. That might have been an improvised line. Let's see. Justin says, who do you want to be the first AAA luchador to get a main roster feud? Mr. Iguana.
It should be Mr. Iguana. He's wildly over. But, man, bring Psycho Clown or Pagano to main roster.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be great.
Art Guy, where does LA Knight go from here? That's like the one huge thing that came out of Money in the Bank in terms of a gripe from fans. LA Knight not winning Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. They need to, if that Raw World title is there to sort of like congratulate or reward the fans for getting behind certain people like Jey Uso, Sami Zayn's going to get it. LA Knight needs to get his hands on something, and he's already passed the U.S. title.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
do I feel like he's got a world title reign next 3 years? No.
Really?
No.
Boy. Fans are going to get antsy on that one, man. I thought that his U.S. title run would be enough. The fans, they're not happy about that shit.
Well, it wasn't terribly long, his run with the U.S. title.
It wasn't.
2 runs.
It wasn't, but I kind of still feel like even if it was just one longer run.
No, I wouldn't have. Well, I wonder if breaking it up into 2 shorter runs felt kind of diminished both of them. You know what I mean?
Because at this point, he's just going to consistently be coming up short. You got to do something with that.
Timor here says, where would be your line when it comes to putting a sponsor on a match element that would make it too much?
If the mat itself, they somehow incorporated some LED tech into the canvas, and the canvas was like doing like a moving
like a giant
ad.
Billboard, yeah.
Like a video screen.
For me, it might be too much if WWE is like going up to wrestlers and saying, hey, we're starting to sell sponsorships on your gear. But then the wrestlers don't get any of it.
Well, that'd be horrible.
Yeah, that would be awful.
But would you be cool with it if the wrestlers got the money?
I mean, I'd be cooler with it. I don't know if I'd still be. I don't know.
If it was like integrated the way the NBA does it, like with this little thing right here, I wouldn't care.
It's
like
small.
it would just fade into the background again.
Yeah. But if like across Randy Orton's butt cheeks doesn't say Orton anymore, it's like I don't know, what's that pest control place? Like is it Ortho or something like that? It's something that looks like Orton. Yeah. And they haven't Orton's font, but it's the advertisement. What
if it was the opposite? What if it was like the McDonald's arches, but instead of McDonald's it says McOrton's?
I mean, that's kind of funny. But at the end of the day, like if branding to that degree is going to be across Randy Orton's butt cheeks, you should get a cut of that.
I don't disagree. They're like, it goes to your guarantee.
That goes one of the buckets.
Now it's a new bucket. Yeah,
it's one of the buckets.
That'd be horrible.
Alex Foster asked, do you think Legato's win is a sign that their mojo is back? They're probably going to pick up the story after they have the tag title match next weekend at Triple Mania. They're probably going to go back to the story or start teasing Berto. They'll lose the tag title match, and Berto be upset about how to be in Legato again.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be.
Yeah. Nikyle asks, who will be the one to unmask El Grande Americano? Probably Ray.
Yeah.
Probably Ray. Should be Mr. Iguana. He unmasks him and go like this.
Use the stuffed iguana to unmask him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's all the questions I got here.
I got one more from Combat Ben. When do you think Amos will be back? And what do you think he will do?
I don't know, and I don't know.
I hope he comes back soon. He had a good but short run in Noah, it seemed like.
People seem to like him in Noah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with that is.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what WWE's doing.
Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time. We'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.